people will try to put the same limitations on you that they put on themselves. Don't mistake their insecurities for your ceiling.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable.
If you are present, you're present. Like, most people aren't present ever. And so it's like, if I can just be present, even in my suffering, I'm there, right? Then I can experience joy for being human and having this experience that I only get once.
Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
If you can wait a year, you can make a ton of money. Like, if you can do something for 12 months, you can not need for financial goodness pretty much for the rest of your life. I'm not saying you're gonna be hella rich, right, but you're not gonna need for anything if you can wait 12 months. If you can wait a decade, you're going to be above the 1%. If you can wait 10 years for an outcome, be able to do the doing without seeing the result for 10 years, you will be able to be above most achievement of most people. And if you can wait a lifetime and you don't even need to see the result of your doing this, even while you are alive, but know that it may get done after you pass, then I believe that you can change the world.
Railing against how hard something is, or how much time it's taking up, or the difficulty or the inefficiency or the fact that you don't know how to do it, or the fact that you don't have a high that can sort it, or the fact that people around you don't believe you, or that no one's giving you the support that you want, or that you thought it wouldn't take this long. The fact that that is happening is par for the course. It is the price of doing business. It's the cost of entry for whatever the thing is that you're going about, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be happening. And so much of the pain, as far as I can see, is you railing against the fact that there are difficulties.
And when we look around at the world and we look at all the problems and we look at all the chaos, we have to take responsibility for ourselves for creating it. You're not living the best life that you want to live. You're not the person you want to be. You're not the person the 8-year-old you wanted to be. And I bet you're not even taking steps to become that person, are you?
If you're not playing the long game, you're screwed. So my thing with patience is you have to go all out at a sprinter's pace and run a marathon at a sprinter's pace if you want to achieve something. That's where people fall down.
The more that somebody complains, the less accurate their perspective of the world is. So a complaint is you saying, why is the world not behaving in the way that I expected it to? Which essentially identifies that you don't have an accurate model of the way that the world works.
And all this time, you point your finger and you say, I can't do that because I was born here, or I can't do that because I have this issue, or I can't do that because they made fun of me. And you know what's going to happen? Nothing.
There are going to be problems continuously for the rest of time, and there will never be a day when you don't wake up and have to mediate or negotiate or cajole your way through something.
You're going to get more of the same. You're going to get laughed at more. You're going to be ashamed more. You're going to be frustrated more. And you're going to really regret at the end of your life that you put off taking responsibility for yourself and building yourself into what could be.
So given the fact that these things are fucking unavoidable, why are you complaining about them? And why are you so surprised when they happen?
We have a bunch of people that want to point fingers and defer responsibility off to anything and everything except the one thing that can change their entire lives. And that's looking in the fucking mirror and saying, "F you, man. You did this to me. You made me this way, and I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to fix it by controlling all the things I can control. I'm going to control what I eat. I'm going to control what I drink. I'm going to control how I move. I'm going to control the information I put in my brain. I'm going to control how I treat people and who I surround myself with." And if you control those things, you are now in the driver's seat to create what it is you've always known that you were here to create. Because you always do know what you're here to create. It's that little version of yourself that hides deep inside your heart that you are so afraid to even talk about because you're afraid the people around you are gonna laugh. Well, guess what, motherfucker? They're gonna laugh, and they're gonna laugh more if you don't do anything.
I was so obsessed with like positive psychology, and I was reading all these stuff and watching these TED Talks. I remember this whole period of my life. And I was constantly assessing my mood as a determination of whether I was happy or not. And it became so obsessive that I was just like, all of this. I was like, I'm just gonna do shit. And that's all. I was like, I'm just gonna do shit, and hopefully it works out. And
did you ever define what works out means? If it isn't happiness.
Be less unhappy, I would say was my thought process, which was like, I'm just gonna do the things. I just started working, and then I found myself actually looking up after, a decent period of time, being like, I haven't thought about happiness in a long time. And I think I might be.
Success is the ability to go from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm.
And so they're able to control their actions and focus on a single thing for an extended period of time. And so if you put those three things together, it's like you've got a big goal that's pulling you this way. You've got this big fear that you are running away from. And then you've got impulse control to keep you focused on the one thing that matters.
Yes.
And if you do that, if you are the type of person who has those traits, then you are very likely to be successful.
When faced with a challenge, your nature might be to worry and obsess and grip tightly, the sort of classic insecure overachiever mindset.
If a problem is fixable, if a situation is such that you can do something about it, then there's no need to worry. If it's not fixable, then there is no help in worrying. There is no benefit in worrying whatsoever.
You build this link between worry and performance. Belief that your performance would have been markedly worse if you hadn't worried so much, and that the worrying is precisely what motivated and enabled the outcomes that you wanted. Even when you reach black belt status and you've got confidence in your capacities, there's a lack of enthused energy. I think it seems like maybe the worries left you, but it's not been replaced with excitable enthusiasm, just higher expectations.
Your mind is wired to magnify things that are negative or things that are scary or things that could go wrong as an attempt to try to protect you and to keep you safe. Your mind is likely to spot the rattlesnake over there because it's dangerous versus the leaf that's turning orange, which is beautiful. Because if your brain can see the rattlesnake, it can keep you away from it. And that's a good thing, except for when you start to feel this sense of dread and bracing and being in this mode all the time, where all you can do is think about what could go wrong or beat yourself up. And so what happens is you don't just manifest the negative, you put yourself into a mental, physical, and spiritual space that is very negative. And that overrides your ability to think, to problem solve, to be calm, to be present.
It's a realization that we all need to come to, that this is all going to be over pretty soon. And I need to remind myself to realize that this thing isn't going to last forever. This is one day you will do your final sports match or your final trip to give a presentation or a concluding project at work or whatever. And you can look back on a great run of miserable successes or actually try to embrace some enjoyment, perhaps even try to prioritize it.